because I'll shorten this up. Really. I was sending it out to all of you, especially the highlights.
I got it.
Perfect. So I've written a few notes here, so bear with me as I get through these here. First thing I want to start with is just a short. Let me say this first. Like I said, my name is Jamie Palmer. I'm a real estate agent here in the Valley, and I'm also on a spiritual path. That's what I call this year. What I should say is I'm on a spiritual path and I do real estate because my spiritual journey is taking precedence over everything. I found out last September I started meditating daily, and I found out very quickly that my day went smoother, my work went smoother. I had the best 6 months of real estate that I had in 2 years, and then I kind of took a break, as we do, because we're not really in the habit yet. And I found out pretty quickly that things didn't go smoothly until I'm getting back on that wagon and making sure that I'm meditating and taking these classes. The church that I go to, the spiritual center I go to, has a program called the Practitioner, and so it's like a 3 to 4 year journey of classes, and so I'm actually in the first stages of that. So I hope to be more of a spiritual coach at some point, down the road. So this last class we took was on prayer, and this was written by Larry Dossey. It was an introduction to the energy of prayer by Thich Nhat Hanh. It says, prayer, food for the soul. The urge to pray is universal. We know no culture, past or present, in which prayer does not occur. People pray when they are happy and sad, during celebration and tragedies, at births and deaths, during peace and war, in cathedrals and cars, in poverty and plenty. Prayer, it seems, is in our blood. Like the cosmic background hum that has filled the entire universe since its beginning, prayer is a continual presence on earth, a constant global hum. And like the background hum of the universe, prayer reminds us of our origins. For what is prayer but communication with the Absolute, from whence we arose, with whom we are connected, and to whom we shall return? Prayer is not just what we do, it is also who we are. In the end, it matters not whether we say thee, thou, or a you. In prayer, it is the attitude of our heart that counts. Scores of studies show that individuals who follow some sort of religious or spiritual path in their life live longer, on average, than those who do not choose a spiritual path. And on average, they have a lower incidence of all major diseases. These studies paint a picture of human consciousness that is non-local, a fancy word for infinite. Our individual minds appear to be unbounded, and if unbounded and unlimited, they eventually come together to form a single mind, which our ancestors referred to as the universal mind. Therefore, the most contribution that prayer makes to our welfare is not the curing of a particular disease, but the realization that we are infinite, eternal, and one. Infinitude, eternality, and oneness are terms we have traditionally attached to the divine. We thus share qualities with the Absolute, however we name it, the divine within. Prayer is food for the soul. Let us hope that millions partake of it, for on this meal our future may depend. So I just want to start with a short prayer. This one was written out because it's much more eloquent than I can do. So the purpose of this prayer is to know that I am guided through divine wisdom at all times. I recognize that there is one essence of creation, that which is and exists within all things. We know it by many names: God, Allah, the universe, Yahweh, and many others, too many to count. Regardless of our name for it, it is the same. It is the unchangeable creative power and essence of all creation that embodies all wisdom and truth. I know that this creative power and wisdom are not only within me, but within all things. Each cell of the universe vibrates with its knowledge, power, and presence. I fully accept the realization of the truth of my spoken word. I have unlimited access to divine wisdom, knowing that it is fully available now to guide and show me the way. I accept that I am completely open to this guidance, and that each step of my life's path is perfectly revealed to me know this for myself, I know this for every person, and that he or she is also perfectly connected within this wisdom. Each person is open to divine guidance in everything that he or she does. This creative power is available now and is used to manifest right action and outcome in all affairs. I give thanks for this truth, knowing that this is wholly and completely done. I release this perfect word into the law, which is the unlimited mind of God, and so it is. One thing about what I'm going to talk about today is not how to pray. Everybody either knows or has their own particular way how to pray. To me, it's the words that we use, and it's the feeling behind those words. To me, I think that's more important than how you actually decide how to pray. Because really, when I'm saying an affirmation, I'm praying. So, let me go back to my notes here. So, the three things are the affirmations, the feelings, and the prayers. We talked about that. So how many times do we listen to people around us talking, or even hear ourselves talking about all the negativity, and then witness them getting exactly what they wish for? Traffic is so bad. Crazy drivers. My work is hard. Kids are screaming and yelling all the time. I feel sick. I have no money. The list goes on and on. The sad thing is, the more that we say these things, the more they come true. When I wake up in the morning and I say I'm tired, and then at noon I'm still saying I'm tired, and then at 4 o'clock I'm still tired. It's amazing. I continue to do that. So I try to catch myself and say, I may say it at first thing in the morning, and then at noon, by noon I'm like, no, I feel good, I feel happy, and I feel rejuvenated. And it's amazing the difference that how your body feels with the words that we're saying throughout the day. So, most of us know what affirmations are. The dictionary defines affirm as validate, confirm, to state positively, he affirmed his innocence, to assert as a judgment or decree, as valid or confirmed. Affirmations are statements of belief. In our everyday world, we often make affirmations about ourselves. They're sometimes referred to as self-talk. Affirmations can be true, life-affirming, and based in reality, God is all there is, or they can be false, lacking limitation. Whether true or false, when we say them, we absolutely believe them. And just like all other beliefs, they are acted on by the creative law, and they manifest. So, instead of saying, I'm so stupid, say, everything I need to know always comes to me. I will never have any money. How many times do we say that? I'm broke. I always have enough, always. Life is unfair. I always win, always. You can use affirmations when you're going to a meeting. Infinite wisdom and right timing live in me. When you're going to the doctor, I am in the perfect pattern of health and abundance, or balance. If you're running late for an appointment, I arrive in time and on time. All is in perfect order. So it's just a matter of, I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. If we're late, it's amazing how many times we're all shook up about it, and then we get there and that other person's late. And it all really is working in perfect timing. So, affirmations can interrupt a negative, limiting, fearful downward spiral in consciousness and pull us back to the truth, replacing discomfort with comfort, fear with peace, and unreality with reality. So on that note, I wrote up some of these affirmations for everyone. This is one I ran across earlier this week. They all say the same thing. It's amazing what a difference writing an affirmation 30 times will do for you. I found the power of the written word last night.
That's your next talk.
What's that?
Your next talk.
Yes, exactly, the written word. Just to give you a little example about this particular affirmation, I'm going through a breakup with my partner. We all have life events happening to us all the time. Good, bad, ugly, they're all happening. It's how we choose to deal with those things in our life, okay? So, to give you an example, a week ago I came to meditate to this group, and I was zen. And then we meditated. And I thought, this is exactly what I need to be doing. And so I was in hate and anger last weekend. I found this affirmation, and it's amazing within 24 hours, just saying it over and over and over and over again, how powerful these words became. I was loving and kind towards my ex-partner, and it just makes me feel better. Okay? And that's the point. And last night, like I said, writing it, if you don't believe it as you're saying it, as you're reading it, whatever your affirmation is that you choose, I recommend writing it. Write it 30 times. Trust me, you'll start feeling it. So that leads us into the feeling part of it. Where are the notes here? So Ernest Holmes said, "You are using the law of life every time you think. No matter how long you may have been using it wrongly in your ignorance, that very day, that hour, the very moment you begin to use this power rightly, and the effect of having used it wrongly will pass from your experience. Does it make any difference how long a room has been dark when you introduce a light? How long the earth has been parched when refreshing rains come to bring new life, a new seed time, and a new harvest to the fields?" So that's just, I love that analogy about the dark. It's like, it doesn't matter how long we've been thinking a negative way, how long we've been saying this, I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm broke. The minute you make a decision to change your mind, to say something different. Okay? So every time I read it about thinking positively, I hear them talking about feelings. They talk about the feeling. Do you really feel that affirmation? Do you look at your naked body in front of the mirror and go, "I'm so beautiful"? Do you believe it? Most of us, especially women, no, we don't. We have to keep saying it until we believe it. So this can be challenging at times. When I say I'm a money magnet and I have $20 in my pocket, it's a little challenging to feel like I'm a money magnet, okay? When I say I'm healthy and I have a head cold, it's kind of hard to believe. We have to overcome what our current reality is, and have faith, complete faith that what we're saying we're truly believing. This is where the feeling part comes into play. So I want to just tell you a little story. I recognized within the last few months that every time I had a negative feeling about a certain person or certain events that were happening, I had a sensation that would go up the left side of my head. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting to be my age and to find, to recognize that I have this feeling when I have a negative emotion. And so just in the last few weeks, I thought to myself, I'm going to pay attention, because once again, we're talking about really feeling those good feeling thoughts. I thought, I'm going to pay attention and see what happens when I think something really positive. So I've been thinking about my dream house for a year now, okay? I know what it looks like, I know what it smells like, I can taste it, I can feel it, I can, see all the furnishings. It's a beautiful house. You'll all be invited when I get it, when I manifest it. So I really just concentrated really hard on that house and that feeling, that positive feeling. And I noticed that the right side, I now have a sensation on the right side. So I thought, oh, this is really interesting. Okay. So then I kept trying some different things. Well, the more you notice, the more I notice that good, positive feeling place, now I notice it all the time. So I'm reading my affirmations, my daily affirmations. I'm reading something positive. Now I feel that on the right side all the time. So that's my indication that I can really feel it. So when I want to manifest something in my life now, and I choose my affirmation, my thought, I make sure that not only am I saying it and believing it, but I'm feeling it. Okay? And my friend Tony, I'm going to use you as an example. We were having this conversation about a week ago, and she said, every time I have a negative thought, or even if somebody says something sad or negative to me, my wrists hurt. So I'm gonna challenge. I challenged her. Have you found your good feeling?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Well, I'm going to challenge each of you to pay attention to that. Pay attention to where the negative feeling is in your body, because you all have it. We do. We all have it. And then once you recognize that, then figure out where that positive is. So when you're reading your affirmations, you can really powerful, powerful stuff. One thing I just want to point out from this book is they talk about the emotional guidance system, and there's a scale of what your emotions would look like. Okay, there's 22 of them. I'm not going to bore you by reading all of them. But basically, the first one is, you know, the best feeling is joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation. Next one is passion. Third one is enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness. And then it just goes all the way down till you get to jealousy, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness, fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. And it says, the thing that matters most is that you consciously reach for a feeling that's improved. The word for the feeling is not feeling. So when I recognized that I was in anger and hate last week, I had to really look at that and go, why? What's going on? And then I reached for the next, okay, sadness. Sadness is actually higher on the scale than anger. I didn't want to be in sadness, but I certainly didn't want to be in anger and hate either. So just kept reaching. And then once again, that information I passed out helped me get back up to the higher vibration. Okay, so good stuff in this book. So I don't keep you guys here all day. I just want to talk to you just briefly about prayer. I did a report recently for Power of the Word, prayer, and I just want to go over this because I think it's a good analogy. Ernest Holmes wrote How to Cultivate Your Mental Garden, and I really like the analogy of planting a seed and then having that seed grow. So he says, friends, last week we talked about how to plant your mental garden, and as you know, after we have planted a garden, we must cultivate it. We must keep it free from weeds. In the garden of the mind, this means that having planted the right thoughts, we must carefully nurture them and see that they do not become uprooted by doubt and fears. At first thought, there seems to be a difference between mental gardening and earthly gardening, but we discovered that the law of planting is the same in both instances. For the soil of the mind must be prepared even as we prepare the earth to receive the seeds we wish to plant. Our garden is a garden of thoughts and ideas, of hope and of faith from which will grow if we carefully tend the fruit of our heart's desire. We plant the seeds, God gives us the harvest. We have planted seeds of hope. Let's be certain that we cultivate them with loving attention and with that enthusiastic expectancy that every gardener has. And what about the weeds that are almost certain to appear? In your physical garden, you go out resolutely and pull them up. You expose their roots to the heat of the sun, and soon they wither away. It is just the same in the garden of your mind. Doubts will appear, and uncertainty may break through. But now, like a good gardener, you're going to uproot them. And if you go out in your garden some fine morning and find that a weed of uncertainty has made its appearance in the row where you have planted the seeds of confidence, just say to yourself, why should I be uncertain? I am dealing with the only power there is. God isn't uncertain, and I don't have to be. I have put my whole confidence in a power greater than I am. And I know that there is nothing that can break its law, nothing that can retard its harvest. Some of the plants seem to come up faster than others. Radishes will make their appearance in a few days in your physical garden, if your soil is right, and so will many other plants. But it takes a longer time for an acorn to sprout and send forth its sturdy shoots that someday will become a giant shade tree. And perhaps you have buried some thoughts and aspirations in the garden of your mind, which don't seem to be showing any sign of life. Perhaps in the secret desire of your heart, you have told God about a lot of things you'd like to have happen. Things that are to influence your life and remain with you forever. These are the sturdy plants, deep-rooted, high-climbing, broad-spreading. Yes, some of the seeds you plant may not appear for quite a while, but you still must pour over them the water of your faith, and above everything else, be sure that you don't pull them up to see if they're sprouting. One of the things that I said that really touched a guy at work, I said, I have to have faith that my thought of good is exactly that. Just as I know that when I plant a carrot seed, a carrot is going to grow. So, in summary, all this leads to prayer, because I believe that my words, my feelings are a powerful part of effective prayer, regardless of how you choose to pray. Really, that's it. I hope it made some kind of sense to you. It did in my head. It sounded much better in my head than it did coming out, but we do the best we can. So anyway, I just want to thank you all for allowing me a few minutes up here, and namaste.